for the next phase. Oh, that's true. 38 years. How fast did that go by?
On that note, we'll go ahead and kick this off. Welcome everyone to the March 3rd, 2025 regular meeting of the Lyman Select Board. This meeting's a public proceeding and as such is being recorded. Everyone will join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag
of
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We do not have anything under item number 1 tonight, so we'll jump into item number 2, which is public input. Public in attendance will have up to 5 minutes to address the board. Please use the podium to address the board, and please be respectful of others. We have public comment tonight. Okay. We will move on. I don't have any mail specific to the meeting, so we will jump into unfinished business. Do we have any franchise agreement updates?
No.
Okay.
So last update was, I can't remember the initials of the group, but they're working on making like a model agreement with the law changes, so
Okay.
hopefully in the spring.
Letter B. YMCA discussion regarding the 2025 contract. So I know we had an email back. We had gone back to them and then now they've come back to us.
Yeah, so they've come back with, they're okay with the terms you guys gave them if the board agrees to pay the difference in gate fees because they're worried about the inconsistency of like if you have a really bad weather season and they're not able to collect the average amount of like 30,000. So they propose, and you'll see in your email, if it's over 31,000, they'll split the difference with the town, and if it's less than 31,000, they would want the town to compensate to get them up to 31. If that makes sense.
I think, yes, I think so. Does that make sense to everyone else?
I made sense out of it when I read it.
What is everyone thinking about that?
Will they still be giving accurate data each week?
So it's in the contract that they, and the park management rules that they collect data. I mean, we could, like we've done before, tell them what kind of data we want them to collect.
And will it be on a weekly basis so that it doesn't fall behind and slip through the cracks?
You can make it a weekly basis if you want. They were doing it monthly before.
And we do it weekly?
If you guys are all in agreement with that.
I feel like that would make it easier for them too, personally.
That's my thought. It's a,
Instead of waiting till the end of the month and you're like, oh shoot, we gotta pull that all together.
I mean, they track it daily, and then I give them like an Excel spreadsheet so they can plug the numbers in, and the formula just tells you how many people, how many cars. It's just taking their data and it's summarizing it from their daily slips.
They're
and then
there.
what they
I'm
turn
sorry.
in is, they turn in the daily slips and then like a monthly summary.
But they're there Monday through Friday.
No, 7 days a week once school gets out.
Oh.
Yeah. So the first, like when you open in Memorial Day,
It's like weekends only for a few weeks.
it's weekends only for about 2 to 3 weeks.
I know that had been mentioned at one point, I don't think it's necessarily in the contract, but it was mentioned at one point, like, no, we always have had 2 people there, even if it was like a rainy, crappy day, because the town was like, keep everything open.
It's never been in the contract that I've seen. As far as what I understood from that conversation was Andy had mentioned like a prior board requested that of them. So
I guess my point is I don't know that I see any point in keeping everything wide open with two people sitting there if it's just a crappy rainy day.
Well, so the contract states that they have to have someone who's supervising their staff. So it's YMCA
Right,
staff, it's not the town staff. And then basically however they staff the booth is up to them. It's just, it'll be staffed from whatever hours, whatever days.
Okay.
It's not really worded in a way that they like have to have two people 7 days a week or anything like that.
I guess all I'm saying is like, I just would hope that there would be some flexibility for inclement weather, that's all.
Yeah.
The point, like, it's gonna be really like wash, it doesn't make sense to. I don't know that anyone from the town was ever like, you better be there in that, at the gate.
Like, are you saying you're okay with them, let's say, closing the gate if it's just a washed out day?
I would-
Absolutely,
I would
absolutely.
be. I think that's at least a resource personally, I think if it was a town employee, we would.
I think one reason why they have done it in the past is that they have camp, even if it's raining.
They
don't they?
move them, I think they would move them. I guess my only point is if they were gonna move the kids over to the Y and like the only reason for staying there is just for that, I just don't. I'm just trying to be flexible and nice.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to a beautiful summer where it only rains at night. It's
Well, if it is based on weather, then that's how we're gonna be able to track it. You know, whether or not,
Right.
you know, so.
So I don't wanna speak for anyone else, are we all okay with this? Or is there other feedback or thoughts or?
I don't know how I feel about it, honestly, because it's still, even after all of the discussion that I feel like we put out to the Y, that the town in its current situation, trying to keep our taxes low and all of that, this has become a burden on us. And the 41,000, so agreeing to do the 10,000, putting that in the budget, but then them being concerned with really only their own entity. And again, not the partnership with Lyman. They're worried about, oh, well, if we don't make the 30,000, we want you to kick in. And that's, I have a problem with
I
that.
think the partnership, for me, when I hear that, the partnership is, if it's over that, we split it. But that's just my own
Yeah.
personal.
So that was their way of like offering some revenue for us.
I also wonder.
Yeah, I mean, what's our highest year ever been over there? Yeah, I was thinking 32. So, I mean,
I get it.
so I'm not in favor of that part of it. I would be in favor of them keeping the money at 31,000.
We've been talking about, since then, we've been talking to other nonprofits about field use fees and whatnot. And so we weren't willing to bend when he was here, when we were talking about it, that was going to stand. And for the moment, I don't know that we know where we're at with that. So that could change. So maybe that piece of it would make the piece that you're uncomfortable with a little bit null and void there. I mean, well,
What piece are you?
Yeah.
Paying for field use.
What, I'm sorry, could you say that, what piece you were referring to?
well, we've been talking about field use and nonprofits with other nonprofits since we talked to the Y.
No, I think he's asking what I'm uncomfortable with, not
Oh,
about
okay, I'm
that.
sorry.
My uncomfortable is with if they
all
don't get 31,000, they want the town to make up the difference so that they still in the end get their 41,000.
Correct.
That's my issue.
But if it goes over, we split that. But if it's under, they get it all. We
Yeah.
have to pay all that. It's a little unfair.
Yeah, there was never a contract offered where the Y was making up the difference if we didn't make a certain amount of money. Those are my feelings.
Well, I liked the offer and the fact that you made up a compromise to letting it go another year in that. And that's, one of the reasons why I went along with it. Plus, I didn't want it to just die right there for the moment. It was an offer.
Mhm.
So, I'm not sure how the whole thing works, but, it's getting, the clock is ticking in a sense. The snow is melting
That's March.
like that. Do we send it back and say we don't like that part of it, or do we counteroffer, or what are you
I
thinking?
feel like we are at a point where we have to we have to do something here. We've been, I mean, how long have we been doing the back and forth? Since like October, November?
I think if we hold at, at what Amber's saying, then they should be able to keep the full overage and not split it with us.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
And we're talking for a 1-year contract.
Yeah,
Yes.
that would still be the same.
Was that a motion, Dave, or?
No, a 1-year contract, I think, is fair.
I think that's what's on the table anyway. I think I was
Yeah.
asking if it was a motion for you to say, keep it as we originally offered and just say that they could keep anything over and above, we wouldn't split.
Yes, that's a motion.
Is there a second to the motion?
You seconding it? Would you?
Hmm?
Would you second it?
I can second it to get it to discussion. So I'll second it, discussion. I still think they have to pay people, and I know the conversations that we've had, but I'm going to remain consistent on this and think that the right thing to do is to have them 1 year so that we can get ourselves figured out and have a plan, a path moving forward. And I know what it takes to pay people and manage people and do that, so. That's where I'm at. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm missing something or I read too many things about it. In the emails, what exactly is our offer? What is the counter offer that we're exactly talking about right here, right now?
So we put out to them 10,000, we would pay them 10,000 and they would keep the gate fees for the 1 year contract.
Yes.
Okay,
I think there's some other.
because I heard 31 and 41 in the conversation, and so it was low.
31 was in the conversation because that's kind of what came in for gate fees last year, right?
Yeah, he
Later
was
on.
averaging.
And so essentially what they were saying is if they get the 31, then great, that makes them bring them to the 40 or 41 that they were getting anyway, right? To me, when I read this, honestly, it just seems like they're just trying to find a way to get to the 40, 41 that they were gonna have anyway. And I get it. I get why.
So it's basically the same as what it has been the past few years, except for we were talking about fees for the field use.
We talked about field use fees, and then they talked about if they brought in over and above 31, they would split the difference with. Or let's see, it's YMCA will split the difference with the town, so the town will keep half of the additional fees over 31, and the Y will keep the other half and be able to use that to apply towards the field use fees. So,
I personally, I think that, the money that we've put in, the money and effort that we've already put in, cleaning everything up, repairing the the walks, things that are still gonna happen prior to it opening, is gonna be to their benefit where, you know, they can market it a little harder if they need to make up some funds. If we go with the, you know, to pay anything under $31,000, we're just putting the town on the hook for an unknown. And I don't know if that's a good idea. But if you release them at the top end, if they market it and push it and make 50,000, good for them. You know, but I think we've done quite a bit to that area to really clean it up, and it's going to continue prior to opening. So I don't think it's that bad of a deal for them.
Did we take back the Pines?
Yeah, we did. So it sounds like you're going to be on the hook with their offer. You're on the hook for 41,000, which is what you guys have been funding and paying for the last couple of years. And then over and above, they're like, say they do get 50,000, so they'll take, or they'll say 51,000, so that's 20,000 over. They'll split 10 to the town, 10 for themselves. So you would be making money in that offer. Potentially.
Well, but that's what I was saying. If they're taking the whole, in a sense, taking the whole risk up front, and not having the town basically be their backstop or support, and they make it on the other end, I think that should go to them. You know, just because they released us from that liability. That's my thought.
And that's your motion. That's the motion that we're discussing, is that anything
Yes.
above and beyond, they would keep.
It is, the only thing that disturbs me after this discussion is the fact that we had made a decision about the field use fees, and now we're talking about changing that potentially. Is it fair to leave it as is with them? And at that point, they would be, if we did change what we were doing, they'd be the only one that were paying those fees.
No, I agree, Vic. I
And so
think
that's the part I'm
if we
uneasy.
if we end up changing fee, it should change for all.
That's,
Absolutely.
I think that's a good point for all the nonprofits.
And I think we leave as is in this for now, but if we change it, it changes consistently across the board.
All right, thank you. What do you think, Joe? Oh, that's true. I forgot. Sorry.
Well-
My bad.
If I just may explain to the audience, reciting from the charter, recuse, the voluntary withholding of a vote to avoid a possible conflict of interest or the appearance thereof. And because I'm a member of the Y, it could appear that I may be less than unbiased.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I did forget. Honestly, it was an honest
No
mistake.
problems. Thank you.
Okay. So, again, the motion on the floor is that we would approve what the Y came back with the exception of anything above and beyond the 31,000 in revenue, they wouldn't split with the town. So,
No.
No,
sorry.
No, we're only on the hook. We're only obligating the town to $10,000.
Right, all I'm saying is anything that they bring in above 31,000,
Yes,
they keep,
yes,
they do not split with the town,
yes.
correct?
yes.
Okay.
I
Just want
was-
to make sure we've talked about
Okay.
a lot of
Yeah.
numbers and a lot
Great.
of things, and I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page. Is there any other discussion on that?
Just if we end up lowering the hourly fee, that would pertain to them also.
Agreed. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Aye. Okay. So you'll go back to them one more time, Lindsay?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, we have item C, RFP for property assessment equalization project, to discuss updates, and I know there's some information in our packets about that.
Yeah, so they came back with, they reduced the bid a little bit based on the information when they met with me and Lori on what the project would entail. I think we'll have more discussion about this at your next budget workshop on the 13th, just to wrap up, because we anticipated $70,000, so our initial funding plan was based on that. So obviously, we're gonna have to increase that a little bit. And so you don't have to make a decision on this tonight. Maybe we talk about it more at the workshop and kind of figure out what the rounded numbers are gonna look like. And we'll have that with us so we can look at their bid. I see they did separate it out a little bit. So to give us some options to what to play with.
It's a lot.
All right. Item D, we are gonna move on to Butternut Ramps. We are scheduled to open the bids March 17th.
So I'm just putting it out there to keep it rolling, because I don't know how far out in terms of like when they'll be able to install the ramps and stuff. So I just want to make sure if we do award a bid, we do it in time, but there's booking time for it.
Okay. So we'll come in next.
Next
Next meeting.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, Madam Chair,
Yes.
Dave, I saw your email, where there were a couple provisions that you wanted to add to the RFP. Is that correct?
Joe, I'm sorry, can you re-say that? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I noticed your email earlier today.
Yeah.
About the scope of work. Are those elements, are you suggesting that they be included into the RFP?
Well, I would have liked to have seen it, but it's shot money, Joe. It's $20 a ton. You're talking $60.
Okay,
So this was an RFP that I
I
believe.
mean, it's just so that they don't have to excavate in any way. That's all that is.
So Kevin and Holly did this RFP, and Dave being the liaison, did they not share it with you?
They may have.
Okay.
I just I missed that, and when I read it today, I picked up that it wasn't there, and I just thought it would be a good thing to have. But it also, when they come in to pick up the package, you can write it on everybody's package. Like I said, I mean, you're not talking $100, so.
Or you can just go back.
And it's just so
like you
that they
said.
don't have to damage the roots.
So I'm not gonna change the RFP at this point, because we've already put it out, and like I said, we
Correct.
have an August
So
deadline.
what I'm saying is, when they're gonna come in for some paperwork, aren't they?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Oh, they'll take it offline, I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Well, worst
You
comes to
can-
worst.
I mean, my standard
I'll get the
language,
stuff.
If we have to, I mean, that's something
so
that can help provide
Mhm.
to
If you
the
notice-
job,
Yeah.
like I did with the shed
Yeah.
and whatnot, so,
well, the other thing, so I use a standard template for RFPs, so it's always in there. You guys can amend things. You guys, like once you receive the bid. So I always keep that language in there for some flexibility for you guys. So
Probably a good thing.
honestly wouldn't worry about it too much.
okay,
Good.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's good.
I like the little map in it.
That was Kevin. Yeah, he did a good job.
Awesome. Okay, so that takes care of that for now.
So the next
This-
one.
Item E, we have Casa Pro requests for extension term of materials on the Davis Road property.
So I don't see him here, but basically, just because there's snow cover, just helps them, and the roads will be posted. So probably once the snow clears, roads aren't posted. Told them I'd pass it on to you guys. I'm pretty confident you're all okay with it.
Right. Sorry, I don't
I
see
understand
for
it completely.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Perfect.
Are we setting, I'm sorry, a specific date or just?
You can if you want to. I don't know. The roads are due to be lifted from posting like April 6th.
It could happen before that,
Mhm.
though, too.
Yeah,
We
and I don't
we just
know when, so we can say when road postings are lifted or something.
Just leave it alone for now.
Mhm. Okay.
It's good to know.
Let me just see what it is. Okay. Item F is dedication for the town report. We got a nice long list there.
Yeah.
Just to remind everybody, I think what we had done, I'm assuming this must have gone out in an email or an online kind
Like
of
a
thing.
survey, yeah.
So we have a nice list in front of us, and each entity or person has a letter next to their name, because I'm kind of a nerd and think this is fun to be a surprise. So in the spirit of that, that's why we try to keep it secret until it's published. But
Mhm.
so I don't know if anyone had taken a look at this and is ready to vote on it, or I don't know what your deadline is, Lindsay, for printing.
Like April 1st. So if you guys
So if we kind
could
of
vote
thought,
on it, and then that way I can figure out who's gonna write the dedication.
K tickles my fancy right at the moment.
I was gonna say M, but
Yeah.
I would be more apt for that afterwards, because that's not really
Mhm.
public knowledge yet.
I would encourage consideration of B.
Yeah, that was my close second.
Dave, did you have thoughts?
You didn't get the list, sorry.
Oh, sorry, Dave.
I'll send it-
Limited thoughts.
I'll send it a picture.
Amber, any thoughts?
You can't fit all the thoughts in a box anyway.
That's right, it's hard.
I do like N.
All right.
No, I mean,
Yeah, that too. It's kind of not
I
fair.
either it's-
Yeah.
If he doesn't have that in front of
Who's
him.
out
I
there?
don't know, I think
No,
Lindsay
I
said
sent
she's.
them
Oh, all right,
Picture.
thank you.
Because I haven't, is it in the packet? Because I don't have it.
Okay, I'm just gonna say, right, we have A through P on this list, right? And I think there's a large number of them that could go.
Well, B and
Like,
I are
yeah.
the same, so we can,
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, look at that.
and H and M are the same.
okay. Look, she's just like, thank you. Thanks for that.
Amber, she's
Uh,
amazing.
Okay, so, I mean, I think this is something that we could all think about, as long as we definitely vote next meeting.
Mhm.
Which is March what, 7th?
So
17th.
depends on who's gonna write the dedication.
Gotcha.
Because depending on who you pick, I have to find someone to write the dedication.
Gotcha.
And I don't wanna say to them, hey, you got 2 weeks to figure it out.
All right,
You think 2 weeks is
If you want
great.
to.
all right, I don't
2
mind.
weeks is a fair amount of time.
Well,
I think so.
I do the town report and it takes a while to collect all the stuff from everybody.
I used to write a letter to in the town report
Nice.
for different things.
So I don't know. I mean, if Vicky wants to write it, maybe you could save
No.
it till next one or.
Okay. Are we okay with that? I just feel
Yeah.
like.
Wow,
this is very-
there are some tough choices here.
Right? This is really long.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep,
So we're good with tabling that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And Vicky's gonna write it, so then that takes one piece off of. File and keep it secret.
be careful what you agree to.
Come on
I've
now.
already said it.
All right, let's keep moving. Item G, discussion for MyRec program implementation.
So basically, I'm going to be starting on this for the next couple of weeks. And it takes about 4 to 8 weeks to develop and implement it. And then once it gets set up, it pretty much takes care of itself as far as scheduling goes. There's a lot of good. It's pretty user friendly. I think I've gone on other town websites and it's pretty good. I've also purchased new locks, so it'll help with like if you're reserving certain times, the locks will work in accordance with the time that you reserve in the way that we set them up. So that'll be a process in developing, and I'll just keep you guys updated.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, item H, Looks like Vicky, discussion regarding developing the select board onboarding for new board members.
We briefly touched on that last meeting, and I knew that we had tabled it. And I thought we had talked also about tabling it until after budget, that we would all think about that, what that would look like. I like to have a protocol for the meeting to choose chair and vice chair, because I'd like to be able to discuss it and make sure the person who shows interest, why, I mean, be able to actually discuss it. Though, I make a motion, it's like, what?
And I think we talked about having like a pre-workshop or pre-meeting
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
something before the first meeting
Okay.
to kind of talk that through.
Yeah, because I mean, I just think it's a good idea.
And Lindsay, I think I think it must have been you did a nice email, or maybe it was a letter, I can't remember, like a packet for.
Yeah,
I don't remember
For
who
new-
came, the
two
most
new
recent
members.
of everybody, but that was just like, welcome, and here's like all of the policies and all of the stuff. Which
yeah, I
was
think
good.
that was it was like one of the first workshops we did was a welcome, here's a packet of some information, here's, how we do the budget process, here's how
Yeah.
we do town manager form of government. And then, so yeah, I mean, I think year to year we'll probably be building on that because now we've added like the select board code of ethics and community handbook, and I think all that stuff will be, nice for you guys to kind of have on hand for reference. But yeah, awesome.
Okay.
Do you want to pick a
So-
date for that, or do you want to wait until after the budget meeting and the?
I'm okay with waiting until after we get through budget. If everyone else is already.
Sure.
And,
Next meeting, 3/17.
Start making notes on it and then bring it together.
Okay. Awesome. All right. We have department and committee reports. We have the fire chief's all hands in here, which is part of the packet, so it's also available online. Same with the expense report from the treasurer. And then we have the comprehensive committee
It's a book.
treasurer report. There's quite a packet here. I don't know, the chair of that committee, right? Do you have anything that you want to share outside? Yeah.
So. I'm done here, so.
Sorry, don't, do not trip.
No, I didn't, I did not pull my urn out. Good news is we actually got information back from Southern Maine Planning today. So just got it at the end of the day. She was able to finish up the information that we asked her to come back with. I don't know if you all were able to see the information Southern Maine Planning gave us. There was packets available. I highly recommend you look into those. There's even stuff that we're still trying to collect though down the road. Like for instance, they're collecting everything on our town, including even historical figures. So we have some really great historical figures that are in there, but nothing more recent. And we're also looking for maybe some women historically. So I want to get in touch with the Historical Society and see if they have anything. We've had the roundtable right after Survey 2 concluded. The fun part about Survey 2 is we had 303 results, which is fantastic. And we had the roundtable. We had a few people here. Joe, I appreciate you and your wife coming to show support and ask some questions. Got some good feedback there. And we do plan on doing a third survey, but we want to take time to look at what Southern Maine Planning has provided us. It's like lots of Excel sheets and data, and look at the 2 surveys that we have done to move on to kind of model our next survey. And I think one of the biggest thing all of us are afraid of is survey fatigue. We don't want to tire our peeps out.
I was looking at these surveys, reviewing this packet, and some of the answers were kind of surprising to me.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and some of them gave me a little bit of pause. but I really appreciate the variety of answers.
And it kind of gives us as a committee a good way to think, okay, maybe we need to ask more questions about this, some things we didn't think about. So it's really great information, and I'm so glad people are participating. We hope to be able to be at the transfer station once weather's nicer. If the library has their yard sale, have a table there with information, and just keep collecting the more we can. Hopefully we do get the funding for Southern Maine Planning to help us with the whole packet, because that is really critical to getting it done. It's just such it would take forever to get through all the information that's done. They're doing such a great job. So that's about it. So survey 3 will come later on. The one thing I did want to kind of talk to the select board about, and I mentioned to Lindsay, MailChimp's great and it's affordable and you guys have a subscription. One thing that's difficult with the surveys is you can have people take it as multiple times as they want and you can't stop it. And you actually can see in the inner data, people have taken it more than once. I preface that with, they could afford it on their email and now their email is being tagged to the next person that's taking it. So it may not be malicious, but there's no way for us to track truly who's taking it. Are they from town? There are other survey programs out there that do that. They can actually track an IP address. Again, we wouldn't know, but if you had barriers set, it has to be from the town, then that's what you're going to get for your data. So we're not going to see anything like that. I did come up, they are economical. The one of them was $39 a month. And it was, wait a second. I looked up 3. One of them I couldn't get a pricing back. One was Polco. But that was one of the ones you had to put in your email address and they'll get back to you. So I'm waiting to hear from them. Then SurveyMonkey was the one that they have, that's $39 a month and it's for one person usage. And it had some really good, like it can formulate the data. Poor Lindsay, I don't think you realize, like when there's an other that gets put in, she has to pull those all together. And it doesn't come out of MailChimp easily. And she spends hours redoing our surveys to make them look good for us. And it's just a lot of work and a lot of hassle. And then sometimes it still doesn't feed through and you have to redo it again. So just in the, making sure we're getting everyone's data that's being given to us, because we really want to make sure we're getting everyone and what they're saying. And then the last one I found was Survey Sensum. And they were, wait a second. $99 a month. And the SurveyMonkey does also have like a $99 and a $139. So they vary a little bit all over. I just haven't heard from that last one. So I just kind of mentioned to Lindsay over the next year that we're doing comprehensive plan and even maybe into ORC doing it to be able to do surveys where you're truly getting data from your people in town and it's accurate.
I think they've been really helpful. The AARP one was
Mm-hmm.
eye-opening. This one,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and then, like I said, it's they have great opt-in and opt-outs on them if people don't want to receive the surveys at some point. So just something I wanted to, talk to the select board about, and if that's something they would potentially consider for comprehensive, just so we can have pretty accurate data.
did you talk about it at budget?
I will bring it up. I just looked at it today.
Already.
No, I just looked it up today because after looking at the survey and again, seeing a lot of repeats, you're like, okay, is this something I have to worry about? Is this something that people, it's just not, you just want accurate data. That's all. I'm a facts and data girl. That's how I live. So just having accurate facts and data is really what I'm looking for. And the committee is. I mean, we all want to make sure that we're getting everyone. And again, we don't know if out-of-staters are taking it. You can't tell.
Right.
So that's the hard part. This way we would have it would show where they're coming from, the actual place. And
Well,
that's where
I've
it's,
had invitations to take surveys for Lyman, Arkansas,
Yeah.
or some state down
Right.
south, and so I
Yeah.
could see how that could happen.
I mean, I was really excited to see 300. I mean, that was like, woo, I'm still, my goal is to like over 1,000. That would be like a
That'd be awesome.
Yahoo moment. But I'd want it to be accurate, and the fact that this actually shows much better statistical data with some of these programs here versus the one that we have. Not that MailChimp's horrible, just if we're looking for more easy to read quickly without putting it on the poor town manager who has better things to do.
Yeah, it's just because it doesn't export very well in PDF format. So.
Yeah, and I used to do it too, so it doesn't. It's like it is a talking to Jesus and copy and pasting a lot. So I'll bring it up at budget with the budget committee, and maybe it can be put on your next budget workshop too.
Michelle, do you know if Southern Maine Planning offers anything for surveying as part of it?
No, they don't.
When
No.
we got pricing from Southern Maine Planning, the comprehensive plan committee agreed to take on all the public
Okay.
feedback because then they would have added more
cost.
It would have been
Yeah.
more costly. So
Yeah,
we're
I
trying to
just didn't
take
know if
on
they
what we
already
can
had, like,
do.
the software
I remember-
capability, that's all.
Remember last year in budget, we did talk about increasing some of that
Yeah.
public information back and forth.
Yeah.
And we
So-
talked about different programs and such.
Yeah, I mean, you had the report you have, there's stuff that, like, we had to get information in Southern Maine Planning. We did get it to her because the reports are done today. I will make sure that gets forwarded onto the select board. I'm sure Lindsay will do that. Just came in today. What else was it? So, and also we have our next meeting is March 6th, where we're going to delve into what was given to us, which will be pretty exciting. We have a roundtable scheduled for March 18th at 6 p.m. And we have another roundtable on March 22nd at 10 a.m. Unfortunately, our first Thursday night one got canceled due to snow. So I think hopefully that part of our lives here in Maine is over and we can hit both of those. We do plan on having as many roundtables and, a weeknight and weekend for anyone that can make it. And if people need a certain day, if anyone's listening, let us know. We'll move it around. We just want to make it available to anybody, any questions they have the paperwork here for people to look at and just ask questions.
It's good.
And that's it. Thank you.
Thank
you.
you. Great. Moving on to new business, we have Rick Hall, it says discussion regarding formal abandonment of Post Road.
I think he's not gonna be here till like
Yeah.
7, so
Yeah,
if
and there we have
you,
a library board meeting, I think.
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
You want to sit down and come back
No.
to it?
I guess.
Thank you.
My name is Rachel Daigle, and I am part of the Morissette Farm off Old Post Road and the Day Road. With me here is my sister Dolores Gallagher, who is also Morissette, Dan Levine, who is also part of the Morissette family, and Teresa Tolliver, who was also Camiri. So all part of that. And so I don't know, I assume that you've gotten the packet and the petition. And according to Lindsay, you had some questions for us. So
No, I put it to our attorney and his recommendation, because you're working with Rick Hull, was to have Rick Hull come and speak with the board and us about it. So if you guys don't mind hanging out for a little bit, like maybe you could skip this one for when, because Rick said he could get here at like 7:10.
it's up to you.
Okay. Because I mean, I don't know that I could do justice trying to explain like why you want the abandonment of Old Post Road. Or you guys could certainly try it if you want.
Sure. I think, sure. Basically, there was a letter from us saying why we wanted to abandon the road. And I didn't know what other questions there would be.
I think if you just kind of want to summarize, because there's a few different letters in here, I think it's just a group
Okay.
petition, so if you maybe just want to kind of summarize the.
So I have a survey when the original 1989, they formed the cemetery, the Morissette Cemetery. And we have a survey at that time, and it was a 3-rod road at that time, and it was discontinued by the town. We went to basically make it a larger cemetery, allowed by law. It's 1/8. We would like to go to 1/4, again, allowed by law, and I have the law here. We had a surveyor, Brad Lodge, that came in, and he went to the Scarborough DOT, Department of Transportation, and they could find where in 1822, it was part of the Old Post Road, Old North Berwick Road, or Route 35. It was discontinued in right around 1867, but they couldn't find the discontinuance. So that's why we're here at this point. It has not been attended by the town for 40, 50 years. And we'd just like the petition to go forward. Anything to add?
Does anyone else have questions?
I'm pretty clear on it.
Yeah.
Actually,
At present, who plows?
Pardon?
At present, who plows the,
Uh,
right,
yeah.
exactly, that's what I thought, okay.
I lived with my mother on the road and for years, you know, we did our own and now, other people on the road keep plowing.
As long as I've lived in town for 43 years almost, I've never known that road to be maintained
It has
by the town. And
I was living on it over 45 years ago and it wasn't maintained.
so really,
The-
I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. I apologize. I didn't see it talking. The concern that I would have that would need to be satisfied would be if there's any land that could access that road in the future that would be blocked off and potentially left as landlocked, which has happened.
I think in the petition, it basically says that that doesn't happen.
You guys can retain an easement when you declare it formally abandoned, like you did with Old Kennybunk Road.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I was thinking of when I read all this.
Yeah, so everyone would own to the center line, but there would be a retained easement so that people could still travel through and get utility and stuff up there.
And so you said that Brad Warren has this or has looked at this already?
He's looked at it, yeah, he thought Rick should come and explain it to you. But if you guys want to pursue it, I can just put it back to Brad, so he would have to come up with what the next steps are, because you'll have to have a public hearing and go through the former process of abandonment and drawing up the easements and all that stuff, so.
Is there anybody on the road that is not in favor of this idea?
Not that we know of. They have spoken to some of the families that are there. I don't know at this point if there's anyone that doesn't know. My one concern is if you're looking at the whole thing is the maps will say that Birch Acres goes through and it does not. Okay, it has their Dion Lane and then Birch Acres. And the maps I know are for assessing purposes, but the road does not go through.
Birch Acres, farther on down 35.
Right.
So when we would make a motion to have you, have Brad proceed.
If you want to make a motion, you can. I was just going on his recommendation, so I could just kick it back to him. He has all the information.
So then once he does that, then we'll figure out a public hearing date and go from there. Okay. Is everybody good with that approach?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
Dave,
you.
You good with that?
Yes, like I said, we have a few different roads that are in this predicament. So I don't want to compound the problem in the future.
Agreed. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all
Thank
for
you.
coming. Great.
I agree with Dave.
I like it when that happens. All right, new business, Parks and Rec Committee application for appointments. Here's the packet. Summary, you can see. Does anyone want to make a motion?
This is a hard one, in a sense. I think it's a great idea, but I really want to ask some questions. But where we can't or don't say who it is until the motion made.
Do we want
Do we-
to- Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second it,
Okay, now we're at discussion.
okay? I admire and respect the effort and time that this person puts into volunteering for all these committees and even an elected position. And I'm, I so respect and honor our volunteers for the time and effort that they put in. It makes me wonder, how much time do we expect and extract from one person who is on a bunch of committees and a bunch of things? And like I said, I don't want to sound, like a pain in the neck, or I don't want to take advantage of anyone.
My thought is if they're putting their name up for consideration, they have the time and the energy, and in this case, the knowledge to
Oh, no, I think it's great.
to do this.
You'd have to consider that for a lot of people like yourselves and other people who volunteer on multiple committees. You have
Oh, I
a
am.
group of people.
I'm not just singling one out.
So, I mean, we don't have a rule that, like, you can only be on a certain amount of committees.
I also, the only other thing I'll say that I hear what you're saying, and I think that, what I would say to that is different committees, depending on the role, require different levels of participation. So in this committee, it may be like helping out with like time-specific events versus being a chair or running all the things. So that's kind of where I come at it from. That's helpful or not.
No, I'm cool. I just
I hear you.
don't want to burn anybody out. Right? That's my concern. You know.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
I will abstain.
Okay, so Michelle Palisetti is appointed to Parks and Rec Committee. So we will move on to the minutes from February 18th, 2025.
I make a motion to accept.
Second.
it. Oh, you can have it.
Okay.
Did somebody not get one? Because I have two.
Okay.
No,
Maybe Dave
good.
didn't get one.
I had one this afternoon.
Which I read both of them.
Oh,
just
there
so
it is.
everybody
It's
knows.
hiding back here.
Before I went, wow, that seems very much the same thing. And then I looked at the date.
Any discussion on those? All in favor?
Aye.
I
All right, moving on to warrants, payroll warrant number 39 in the amount of $422.20.
So moved.
so
Sorry, Dave.
got me.
Well, someone's got to second it anyway, so.
Did it get seconded? I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Payroll warrant number 40 in the amount of $32,985.26.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I
And lastly, accounts payable warrant number 41 in the amount of $648,917.67.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
So it's
No.
pretty.
I'm sorry, just one question with respect to the expenditure to Sullivan Tire for supplies.
The loader.
What would be really
Ms. Loder?
helpful if you guys get me your questions before the meeting, because I may not know right off the top of my head.
So sorry.
Okay, it's okay. But it would just be really helpful, and then we don't like extend that period further down the road. So I'd have to look into that one. Sometimes I know the answer.
I think
Okay.
some
I,
of
I thought it was the loader.
I thought it was loader tires.
Yeah,
It could have been.
All right.
but if you look at the 191, 3170, 790, if you look and you go to your expense report,
Mhm.
that it is transfer station equipment.
All right then.
So it
Okay.
makes it self-explanatory.
Any other discussion on that one?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Who seconded that one? Do you remember?
Thank you.
Uh,
I have
I think
Joe
I did.
motioned.
I think I
Okay,
did,
thank you.
Yep,
sorry.
No, it's fine.
I was going to, but it was already being done.
I will make a motion to go into
you.
executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 405A discussion regarding personnel matters.
second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I,